Hi Instas, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome to. This is a quick one on the upcoming full moon in Leo. We have this beautiful, regal, royal, perhaps feisty full moon at 5 degrees of the fixed fire sign Leo on or around January 26th. This is actually right on my 5 degrees Jupiter in Leo, so I'm very excited to find out what this full moon might have in store for me. As you might know, I'm a Cancer rising as well, so the moon is very dear to me. We also have, at the time of this full moon, Venus at 2 degrees of Capricorn, and we have Saturn 5 degrees of Pisces, and we have a couple other things I wanted to mention. This full moon squaring Jupiter in Taurus at 6 degrees, and then we have an opposition as well. Every full moon is an opposition, at the very least, between the sun and the moon. But also Pluto is involved here. As you might know, Pluto has just entered Aquarius and more or less will be there for the next 20 years. So it's starting a brand new cycle for everyone in their Aquarius house in the birth chart. I will be making a separate video on that 20-year period. It's pretty big. But also, yes, we have Pluto conjunct the Sun in this opposition, in this full moon. What I have here then to start is this message of don't... Oh, by the way, we've got Mercury as well, conjunct Mars. So Mercury is in Capricorn and Mars is in Capricorn, which is the exaltation of Mars. So that's pretty big as well, especially if you are a Scorpio rising, Aries rising, Virgo rising, Gemini rising, or you have natal planets very close to these Capricorn placements. I think it's very big or significant for use too. But anyway, the first thing I wanted to say is don't let the rain on your parade in this full moon in Leo moment. And this is stuff like loving and proud celebrations. This is stuff like milestones, especially as we approach. This really is like one of the last kind of big pops of the astrological year, this full moon in Leo. And for many people, these milestones will be quite big, or these achievements will be quite big. Maybe even someone has had or will have around this full moon a big win, a windfall. And this is also stuff like liberations. This is love stories, yes. A lot of people will be feeling very much in love. We have a lot of Pisces energy. We have a lot of the external heart sign energy, which is Leo. And we have the moon here involved in an explosive, perhaps, but also an overflowing, spilling kind of dynamic or energy, and also Jupiter very much involved in this particular full moon event. Pluto, yes, also there with that kind of smashing through into Aquarius and out of Capricorn, finally. So there is a lot, I think, to do with love and passion, and also kind of like the friction. It's almost like one of the forms of like Spanish dance. It's like there's kind of that necessary tension. We've got Venus in the exaltation of Mars, and Mars is there as well right now in that sign. So it can be very spicy, saucy in many ways as well when it comes to love. But also, though, this full moon in Leo brings Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat vibes. I sometimes talk about this on my channel, but this is stuff like haters and jealousy, yes. I would say just don't worry and to smile. in this full moon, even though full moons can be quite, and I'll get on this in a bit, but full moons can be not the best, right? They don't have the greatest reputation, do they, full moons? But for this full moon in Leo, I do get this message of it's okay to smile, or more people will be able to just smile and smile through something, or past someone. And this is also because we have the sun right now in Aquarius, which is actually the detriment of the sun. We have other messages here, or themes, or experiences, such as ego deflation. We have also, for some people, big embarrassment. Yes, it can be a moment of big embarrassment, but again, it's okay. Just kind of smile. It's kind of like when you fall, when you're like a toddler and you're walking for maybe the first time, or you're just still not very good at walking, and you kind of fall over, you tumble, but you just get back up again, you pretend like nothing happened. Or you're an actor and you slip up on stage, or I don't know, your fake mustache falls off or something, but you just act, your wig comes off, but you just act like nothing happened, and you take it in your stride. This is also very Leonite energy, but the Aquarian energy coming in as well can bring a lot of the kind of weird abruptness and, yeah, embarrassment for some people. Also, this is like main character energy. I feel like a lot of people by now will be feeling where and how they are a main character, how that comes through. And things also that cannot be denied by this point, about you, or about your spirit, your energy. And on the flip side of this, I think this is to do with other people as well. So things that we cannot deny about other people. And this is something I learned from a Sagittarius friend. But giving people their flowers. This is like, you might hate someone or something or some place, but we cannot deny when that person, thing, or place serves, right? When it is giving something, when it delivers. We have to, especially in Aquarius season, master, if we haven't already, or we have to dip into this power of objectivity. And with giving people their flowers then as well, it's like, yeah, recognize when something, some place, someone is good or does possess good qualities. And there's a kind of big maturity in that, which I think for some people is quite amazing, because they're just getting into this now. They're just recognizing this. And when we do this, it's so much better for mental health, for the spirit to let go of a lot of things and a lot of types of hatred for people or things, and to be able to have that mind of, or that sight of, or kind of, it's a bit like Virgo. It's a bit like the wheat from the chaff, being able to account and to channel the divinity in the decision when you come to think about someone or something in a particular way, or about a place or thing in a particular way, and making sure we achieve that, I guess, what do I want to call it? Like optimal objectivity. This is very Aquarian in flavor. Also, this full moon in Leo, this is like one of the, as I said before, it's one of the last culminative markers of the astrological year. So it's a great time for some people to do that last kind of throw away or give away or release in some sense. Some people will be figuring out who and what I'm calling the done boys. So like people that you're just done with, or you should be done with now in your life, in your experience, in your environment. So who are the people who creep back in? I've been discussing this with friends recently as well, like over the past month or so, like people, especially around certain occasions like the New Year or Christmas. Here in Korea, Christmas Day is quite a famous day for dating. It's quite like a good day to go on a first date or to celebrate your relationship. It's quite like an outgoing type of day and a romantic type of day. It's different to like Christmas in the UK, very much. But around these kind of occasions, there can be people who crawl back or creep back to us because there is this sense of loneliness or this sense of deep detachment or a sense, sometimes it's narcissism, sometimes it's a sense of thinking it's okay to pull a stunt on someone and come back in their life like some boomerang, as if we will just be accepted. And but the unfortunate thing is that Aquarius season can be like, no, like former coldness can be met with a new kind of snap coldness, if that rings for anyone. But it can come from this sense of, I guess, sometimes regret. Yeah, which can be tough. This is a full moon after all, but some people can be in that space and feel those things. We can definitely feel those things. But like, yeah, anyway, figuring out who the done boys are or realizing who they are and kind of batting them away. You know, Leo energy is very good for like batting things away, shaking things off in a very like, oh, kind of way. Like, oh, thank God that's gone. Thank God they're out of my life. Or thank God I don't have to interact, at least in this particular way that I was reacting or interacting with this person or in that dynamic. Also, we have stuff like bad or painful news for some people. This is a full moon again. Also, things like confessions and sudden difficult conversations, I want to say, for some people. Again, as I said at the beginning, don't worry. This is kind of more, even though it's a full moon, it is kind of more a time where we get to smile a bit more. My hair is so weird today. We get to smile, hair, very Leo, also very Aquarian. Lots of people who have heavy Aquarius placements dye their hair very frequently, change the hairstyles very frequently. Very classic, textbook Aquarian stuff. So you might find yourself getting a bit manic or having a kind of identity panic and dyeing your hair around the full moon in Leo, or chopping it all off, or doing something else with the head, the hair, the aura. Very Leo Aquarius type stuff. But anyway, yes, sudden difficult conversations, even breakups in some cases. I want to say also, I want to stress though, that it will be okay. Probably quicker than you think or feel if you are one of these people going through like a breakup around the full moon. It can also be like an emotional teaching moment for us, this full moon in Leo. This is some people also starting a brand new 20-year cycle that has nothing to do anymore with romance or relationships. So, you know, if Pluto has just entered a house for you in your chart, which is not the 5th house or the 7th or the 8th house, then maybe the next couple decades aren't even going to be so focused on stuff like love or marriage or partnerships, romantically speaking. It's just something to consider for some people. Also, we have, of course, this full moon at 5 degrees. Leo is the 5th sign. And so we get lots of 5 energy coming through in many ways for people. And this is the 5th house as well for some people, which is the house of joy, the house of fun and games and risk and sex and casual romance and romance itself and children and pets like toys and creations. And also this is power and control with the 5. It can be urgency in some ways, but it's kind of like a necessary, healthy kind of urgency. It's kind of like healthy stress. I get with 5 energy, this is parties, this is risk, and this is like saying feck it as well, especially around a full moon. We can definitely be like this, especially in Aquarius season. Like just feck it and like drop something completely, or like flip a table or throw some jelly. I don't know, like this is Aquarius season. I would say, as I begin to wrap up this little video, beware of the bizarre, overly passionate. I want to say, if you've had people like this very recently, like bizarre, overly passionate, random, weirdo type people who've crept up, and I want to say that they will kind of mean nothing or come to mean nothing around the full moon in Leo or very soon after. And I also want to say that some of these people, they're part of cycles that we've already been. You might be meeting a type of person who's the same type of person you used to interact with over 10 years ago, that long ago. And sometimes, especially with Pluto having left Capricorn and entering this new 20-year cycle, it might be the universe's or your ancestors or spirit's way of letting you know that this type of person still exists. And sometimes it's kind of like testy. It's kind of like, do you really know now how to deal with this type of person, or have you learned how to deal, or simply, are you as blind to that type of person as you were the first time round, kind of thing. Um, Saying that though, the funny thing about Aquarius season or Aquarius energy is that there can be, as quirky and weird and alien as certain interactions might feel, like bizarre as things might be in Aquarius season, there can often be, maybe for some people always, this worth. There's something worth taking from these really bizarre, weird, stupid things this other person, this random person is saying or doing. So that will relate for some people. Anyway, on a full moon in general, it is okay to release. A full moon is a moment of release. I do have a general video on full moons versus new moons, by the way. You can check that out if you want. But it can be about pouring out emotion for many people. And it's also a full moon, a good time to not, especially in Aquarius season, to not be emotionally fragile and to instead be proud of something, maybe even proud of yourself, to detach from emotionality momentarily. And even for some people, this is like an objective but decisive, kind of needing to get decisive, and maybe even intense in your fixation on some solution. But it can be about objectivity and decisiveness much more than emotionality. And it can be for many people kind of like the Father of Wands or the King. Sorry, not the Father of Wands, but that might be relevant because we have Leo here as well. But I wanted to say the Father, yes, the Father of Swords. So really punching through, penetrating through with some mental framework or some objectivity over the emotions or the emotionality, and getting also crystal clear with your viewpoint or your strategy for something. And that can be for many people what is being required around this full moon. So yeah, it can be like an emotional test, like a mind versus mush sort of thing. Finally, I'd say just to embrace quirks around this full moon in Aquarius season, and to let your hair down if you're not already, but to also shake off that which does not matter to you, and to focus. And by doing this, you will free up space and room for focusing better on what does matter, because sometimes in Aquarius season things can get too like explosive, like the explosion of identities, and it can be a bit like Pokemon, like just like there's too many different things going on all at once, and it can be very intense and kind of crazy feeling, and you can feel very much pushed or rushed to propel in some way or pivot crazily in some way. But I would say it's better to not rush into too many new kind of avenues or pies right now, so that you can continue to focus on what's already on your big astrological year plate, and not kind of, what do I want to say, not flip the bird to the people and the things and the places that really are with you. like in some kind of permanence or sincerity, because Aquarius season can be when we just do that weird thing and feck it all up. Sometimes to be cool, sometimes out of some death drive or some kind of other drive. But I just want to say it's like letting your hair down, yes, but also like shaking off things in this Leo proud, confident cat, sure, certain cat kind of way. So that you can continue to focus on what does matter. Anyway, that's all I want to say. Have a lovely full moon in Leo, and I'll see you in the next one. Please do subscribe and give this a thumbs up if you liked what I did. Take care. Bye bye.